how to find the answer within yourself. I'm going to give you the answer right now, but not in the way you think. I'm going to give you a surprise. So keep watching.
I'm on the rise.
How to find answers within. It's a very fascinating topic. It's almost like a very deep philosophical. So I'm going to give it a twist. Don't look for answers within. First, look to ask a better quality questions within. Because the quality of your life is the quality of the questions that you ask yourself and others on a regular basis. My mentor, Tony Robbins, got me started on this path of asking questions. And I thought he's the only one. I actually wrote a book on this topic about questions. And because I did so much studying and research, and I found out that it's not him. And if you don't believe Tony's talking about that the quality of your life is the quality of the questions that you ask yourself and others on a regular basis. So if you want to find the answers within, ask better quality questions to yourself. Here's another quote, a very famous quote. And he said that if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on it, the underlying thing is my life depended on it, then I would spend the first 55 minutes figuring out the proper questions to ask. For once I know the proper questions, I can solve the problem in 5 minutes. Albert Einstein, one of the smartest people to ever walk on this planet. If it's good enough for Al, I think it's good enough for you and me. So I was having lunch with a friend of mine. I was asking him some questions, and he kind of reminded me, kind of gave me a little bit of my own medicine. And this kind of, what he said, proved to me that questions are more important than answers. He goes, if you're asking the wrong question, the answer doesn't matter. If you're asking the wrong question, the answer doesn't matter. Do you want to go down the wrong rabbit hole? Have you failed at anything? Of course we all have. The truth is this, if you have failed at anything, you have first failed at asking the right question. The most important question that he asks before making any investment is not the price, not the risk, not the timing, not how much money he will gain or lose potentially. Those are all important, but they're not the most important. The most important question he asks is, are you ready? What is the opportunity cost? There's a saying that you can do anything, but not everything. So if you invest in this one, you cannot invest in that one. So what is the opportunity cost for investing in this one? Because they all will give you return. But that's his question. I don't care what your political beliefs are about Donald Trump. Arguably, he's a successful real estate investor. Before making any deal, he asked himself 2 questions. I learned it from, I don't remember anything from his book, The Art of the Deal. But here he asked 2 questions. Before, as a matter of fact, on anything, for you and me, any major decision in life, if you ask these 2 questions, I think they're brilliant. The most important question he asks is, number 1, what is the worst thing that can happen? What is the worst thing that can happen if I do this? And second is, can I live with it? Chances are, if you can live with the worst outcome, anything else is better. He asked the same question before running for president. Hey, what is the worst thing that can happen? I guess he'll lose $1 billion of his own money because he didn't take anyone's money the first time around. But now, his worst thing that can happen is he's not president. Can he live with it? The answer is yes. Let's go for it. When I do my mastermind, people are calling me that, hey, I want to come, but I've got this conflict and that conflict. It becomes very clear. Ask these 2 questions. What's going on in your life? Oh, what's a conflict? I'm going to miss my daughter's birthday. I'm going to miss my parents' anniversary, my mom's 80th birthday. Then ask yourself, can I live with it? If the answer is no, I have to be at my mother's 80th birthday. I cannot miss my wife's anniversary. I cannot miss my daughter's birthday. Those are important to you. Everything has consequences. If you cannot live with it, your decision is clear. Questions just clarify your value. Rotary International. These are the most widely circulated questions of business ethics. Number 1, is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Herbert Taylor, who was the first president of the Rotary International, coined these 4 questions. And to this day, it is the most widely circulated questions of business ethics. I don't know what kind of business policies, things for you doing for your organization, for yourself, for your family. But these are the 4 questions. These are like the litmus test. If it passes through, then it's ready. If the answer is no to any of this, then go back to the drawing board. Ask a better quality question. When all else fails, ask a better quality question. That is all it takes to change someone's life. And that someone could change the course of history. I'll give you an example. Steve Jobs. He was trying to hire John Sculley to come from Pepsi to become CEO of Apple. And because he wanted to bring a professional manager. And John Sculley was about to be named the head, he was heir apparent to the Pepsi Corporation. And he worked literally from the truck. He moved all his entire life. He's just about to step into the throne. And he gets this offer from a startup company over in Silicon Valley, and he wants to take over and wants to go and leave everything. And of course, they can't match anything that the perks and everything that he has been offered, because it's so good, impossible. But he wants to come. And finally, Steve was just exasperated. Nothing is working. He said they were standing at the Dakota Apartments in New York, the Dakota Apartments where John Lennon used to live. And John Sculley wrote in his book, The Odyssey from Pepsi to Apple, he goes, the question that he asked me is the question that changed everything. Out of sheer exasperation, Steve finally looked at him when all negotiations were failing, nothing is working, no amount of incentive, this, that, compensation package was working. He looked at John and said, "John, do you want to sell sugared water for the rest of your life, or do you want an opportunity to change the world?" John Sculley wrote that he disdainfully called it sugared water, what I worked for my entire life. I couldn't live with myself after that question. Now you think that's in business and big money, everything? Let me give you a question. I call this goosebump moment. You talk about finding the answers within. Since 4-year-old, this kid, when he could literally barely talk, he's a pilot and he lives next to a private airstrip. And every weekend he goes flying, and his wife will never let their young child go flying with him because the kid wants to go flying. And he says, his mom goes, "No, my son is not flying in your single engine Cessna. You can go kill yourself, not my son." And this kid tried every trick in the book, throwing tantrum, this, that, whatnot. Nothing worked since he was 4. When he was 10 years old and his dad was Saturday going flying, and his kids runs out. He goes, Dad, Mom said I can go flying with you. He was like, "What? Guess what? Of course, just like you would." He said, I better ask whom? Mom. Otherwise, I'll be in the doghouse. So he goes back inside and he says, "Honey, did you tell him he can go flying with me?" His wife couldn't even look up. She just was looking down and just quietly said, "Yes." And he said, "I'm curious. I've seen this kid tried every trick in the book. Nothing has ever worked. What did he do? Why are you letting him go flying with me today?" She said, "He asked me a question." And the question that a 10-year-old boy asked to his mother was, "Why should your fears be my fears?" Goosebump moment. You and I, if you're a parent like me, sometimes to protect our children, in the name of protection, we give them our insecurities as well. When he asked his mom that question, she couldn't live with herself. When nothing works, the quality of a question, because it digs deeper to find the answer within. And really, so many things I can share with you. As I said, I have written a book on it. If you want to know the three most important questions right now in your life. I'll give you the three most important questions. What am I focusing on right now? What meaning am I giving it? And what action am I going to take? These are the three questions that'll dictate what you do, what right now. And the quality of these questions will bring out the quality of the answers for you. I have morning questions. I have evening questions. I have problem questions. These are predetermined, preset questions that literally makes you look within to get the answers. You should have your own morning questions, your own evening questions, your own problem questions, because when the problem arises, you're not trained. That's not the time to get, hey, what questions should I ask? You already have, these are the problem questions, because the questions direct your focus. Questions are the flashlight in a dark room. Questions are the shovel that unearth the answers. And the quality of your life is the quality of the questions you ask yourself and others on a regular basis. Go look within, not for the answers, but ask a better quality question. If I have intrigued you, your mind, that I really convinced you that questions are more important than answers, then I have a special gift for you. And to really open up your world and make your life richer with this gift, just click right here over here and you'll get my special gift for a better life with my higher quality questions.